History teaches us to expect a certain dignity from the greats. We picture a conqueror falling sword in hand on the battlefield, or a philosopher slipping away peacefully after delivering one last profound thought. But the actual reality of the universe is often less cinematic. Take a military genius who repeatedly dodged cannon fire and rewrote the map of Europe through tactical brilliance, only to be taken out by the paint on his bedroom walls. Or an ancient thinker who established the framework for absolute emotional control, yet died because of a joke about a donkey. We are looking at some of history's most untouchable figures, people whose names are carved into stone, and examining the specific physical accidents that actually brought them down. Despite their monumental achievements, these titans were ultimately subjected to the same biological hazards and chaotic chances as everyone else. We start with Marie Curie. She identified and isolated the elements of radioactivity, documenting a form of energy that changed the course of medicine and physics. She found the glowing radium so beautiful that she carried test tubes of it in her pockets like candy. She kept glowing samples on her nightstand because she liked how they lit up her room at night. Every day, the invisible energy from her research was shredding her cells. In 1934, she died from radiation poisoning. This influence remains physically present today. Her handwritten data, tables, and notes are kept in lead-lined boxes because they are still actively emitting energy. These pages, filled with her observations, will continue to be radioactive for another 1,500 years. We see a similar pattern with France's greatest playwright, Molière. He spent his career writing comedies that mocked hypochondriacs and people pretending to be sick. At 61, while performing in his own play titled The Imaginary Invalid, he suddenly collapsed. He was dying from a real illness, but the audience kept laughing, assuming it was just a convincing bit of physical acting. Both Curie and Molière were physically consumed by the very subjects they dedicated their lives to studying and satirizing. Next, meet Chrysippus, the ancient Greek architect of Stoicism. He taught thousands of people how to master their inner states and suppress erratic feelings. One afternoon, he watched a donkey eating his expensive figs. He joked that someone should pour the animal wine to wash them down. He found his own quips so funny that he went into an uncontrollable laughing fit, which triggered his death. Then there's Emperor Qin Shi Huang. He successfully united all of China and defeated every enemy in his path, but he lived in terror of his own mortality. He hired alchemists to brew an elixir of immortality. Their solution was a pill packed with mercury. He spent years poisoning himself from the inside out in a specific attempt to cheat the grave. In Athens, a lawmaker named Draco established a legal code so severe that stealing an apple guaranteed execution. He offered zero leniency to anyone. During a theater performance, his adoring fans showered him with heavy cloaks and hats as a form of applause. They threw so many that Draco was smothered to death under the weight of their appreciation. Total emotional suppression, a quest for eternal life, and absolute severity. In each case, the rigid ideal these figures built their lives around was the exact mechanism that led to their demise. We move from high philosophy to the consequences of etiquette. Tycho Brahe mapped the heavens and provided data that expanded our understanding of the stars. In 1596, this scientist attended a formal dinner party where leaving the table before the host was considered a major insult. He held his urine for hours until his bladder physically burst. He died 11 days later. Compare that polite end to Roman Emperor Valerian. In 259 AD, he became the first Roman ruler captured alive by a foreign enemy, falling to the Persian king Shapur. Valerian had commanded 50 million subjects. Shapur reduced him to a living footstool, stepping on his back to mount his horse. When Valerian finally died, Shapur had his skin stuffed with straw and hung up as a wall decoration. Or take Napoleon Bonaparte. The man escaped military death over and over again, surviving artillery fire across dozens of battlefields. Yet during his exile on St. Helena, his bedroom was lined with green wallpaper. The dye was made with arsenic, which released toxic vapor into his air day after day. You can conquer nations or map the solar system, but none of that protects you from a burst bladder, toxic decor, or the rules of a dinner party. these endings don't erase the massive achievements of these figures. If anything, the physical vulnerability of their deaths makes them significantly more human. Death acts as a leveler. It strips away the imperial crowns, the scientific awards, and the terrifying legal codes, leaving behind nothing but a fragile biological form. These stories suggest that no amount of geopolitical power or scientific breakthrough can insulate a person from their own biology. Even the most enduring legacies are ultimately anchored to a physical form that can be undone by something as small as a draft or a social rule. If you want to see more of history's strangest exits, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow for more stories.